Can you keep a secret? On this second Sunday of Lent, we hear the amazing story of the transfiguration of Jesus from St. Matthew's Gospel. What is this all about? Why did it happen? Previous to this miraculous apparition of Jesus, Jesus fed the 4,000 with the multiplication of the loaves and the fish. The people were saying that Jesus brought down bread from heaven. This phrase is important because the people were beginning to claim that Jesus was the new Moses, the Messiah. Jesus, like Moses, had provided the bread of angels, the bread from heaven. So the Pharisees wanted Jesus to perform a miracle on the spot, for Jesus to prove to them what the people were saying. Jesus replied, "No sign will be given to you except the sign of Jonah." In other words, Jesus would not be reduced to a common magician on demand. Jesus then takes the apostles off and the disciples off to Caesarea Philippi, to a pagan territory in front of a pagan shrine, and asks them who they think he is. And Peter says, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." Now today, Jesus brings Peter, James, and John up onto Mount Tabor, where all of them could see all of Galilee. And to them, Jesus offers a sign. But the sign that they saw was not just an ordinary cloud. They saw the cloud of God's presence. In the Old Testament, God's presence was made manifest to Israel through the desert in a pillar of cloud. At Mount Sinai, the cloud of God's glory overshadowed the mountain when Moses received the Ten Commandments. Later, the cloud filled the tabernacle. It also filled the temple in Jerusalem at its dedication by King Solomon. However, in the 6th century BC, the prophet Ezekiel received a vision of God's glory cloud, leaving the temple and Jerusalem because of the people's sinfulness. Since that time, God's presence had not been visibly manifest to Israel. But the prophets envisioned the return of this cloud to God's people in the eschatological age, meaning the end of time. Now, Peter, James, and John witnessed the fulfillment of these prophetic hopes when the bright cloud cast a shadow over them on the mountain of transfiguration. Jesus and his true divinity was revealed to them. As Jesus, Peter, James, and John descended Mount Tabor, just like he did after Peter called him the Messiah, Jesus tells them not to tell anyone so as to keep the confusion to a minimum and to allow Jesus to continue his ministry of preaching. Now, 1,992 years later, the secret is out. So please, now, do not keep the secret. By all means, tell everyone who Jesus is. As we enter the second week of Lent, there is no reason for us to live as if we are keeping Jesus or his salvation a secret. God bless you all.